Just repeat the question again. My name's Acha. I was born in Yaoundé, Cameroon. I moved to Tucson, Arizona when I was 7 years old, and now I live in Burlington, Vermont. And I chose to go to University of Vermont because when I was applying to colleges, I applied to colleges that were, I guess, considered public Ivies, and I wanted to get out of Arizona, so I applied to pretty much all of them, and University of Vermont gave me the most scholarship money and financial aid, so I ended up over here. Since I go to UVM, I'm just really around the university, and it's not really diverse ethnically at all. But I guess if you go like deep into the north end, there's a lot of diversity because there's more immigrants that you would think that there are in Burlington. But as far as just around like the college area, I guess the college ghetto, the college where I live at, there's not really any diversity at all ethnically. I guess the biggest shock would probably just be just one of the only black kids that some of the kids over here have ever like been around. Because some kids told me that they never hung out with any black people, didn't know any black people, because I guess they can be anywhere in New England, like rural Vermont, or anywhere like random prep area, Rhode Island. So I was just encountering people that have never been around people in other races and just seeing how differently they treat you. Well, just right off the bat, Arizona's a desert, and that's one of the first things I ever noticed when I came over here. Just being on the plane and getting ready to land in Burlington, it's so green, and I don't know. Tucson's a very diverse place, and Burlington's not really. Well, Vermont's not really, and Vermont's very like rural. Apart from Burlington, it's just like a lot of farms, and Arizona's not really like that. So those are pretty big differences that I noticed. I noticed that definitely my slang changes when I'm in Vermont. Like I definitely use like more. I use like bigger vocabulary. I'm definitely like friendlier when I'm in Vermont. Like you don't really make eye contact with everybody that you walk by in Arizona. You don't really hold doors too long for everybody. And it's just another way it changes. Just being in an area like Vermont that's so tolerant of so many different type of things, I think that I definitely think that's changed me. Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to sort of conform if you're going to be successful here in this culture. Like you don't want to stick out too much. You don't want to be the stereotype, and especially like coming to college here, like so many of these kids, they only have the stereotype. That's the only image that they have of black people. So there's definitely some sort of pressure because you are in college, and part of being in college is being educated, being well spoken, but you also do like speak the slang that you're from, the slang from the area that you're from, and sometimes it's just not really helpful to speak that because it just kind of gives into that image, but at the same time you don't want to like think too much about it and not do anything like that not say anything that you wouldn't say or do anything that you wouldn't do, but it's something that you're always constantly thinking about. I'm pretty laid back dude. I'm pretty chill, so I don't really make enemies with anybody. I think I get along pretty much well with everybody, but I think that when I meet other black people, the fact that there's not many of us around, we're just like more friendlier to each other. As opposed to when I meet some white people, it's for them it's just interesting to like meet a black person and talk to a black person. Like when I go to parties, this happens to me a lot. A white kid will come up to me, have a conversation with me, and immediately either they're gonna start talking about basketball, rap, or sneakers, and it's just like stereotypical things, but um, that I'll have those conversations a lot as opposed to like when I meet a black person, it's like, hey, how's it going? Like, like how's your UVM experience going? So sort of like that. So I guess those are like the biggest differences I would notice. That I do notice. I think that white people already have a certain idea of who I am before they even start talking to me. Just walking up to me, they already think they know these certain things about me. Like if there's one time I told this kid that I listened to Led Zeppelin, and he just paused and he said, "Really?" But Led Zeppelin, their music was directly influenced by blues musicians, so they were influenced by black music, so it's not strange that I would listen to them. But kids just already have certain ideas of you in their head before they even talk to you, and that's the same with me too. It works both ways. When when you're just in social situations, you're always the outsider. You always stick out, and there's some moments where like you don't even think about it anymore, but there's certain situations where it's just really obvious and it's just all you can think about. As far as professionally, yeah, definitely. When I was living up here for a summer, I know it was definitely harder for me to get a job if I was like in a more diverse place, because just right off the bat, my hair, there's not a lot of people in Burlington. There's not a lot of people with dreadlocks in Burlington, and there's just not a there's just this thought of how unprofessional they are, but it's just hair. But yeah, me being black has definitely had an effect on my romantic life here, because sometimes sometimes you're a novelty. Sometimes girls won't even look at you because you're black, and sometimes when you don't know which one's worse, because it's nice to be wanted, but you want to be wanted for the right reasons. It's just out of people are attracted to people that they're not supposed to be attracted to, but I don't know. So it's also had some positive effects, but it's also had some negative effects. But it's just more taboo, and it's just always something that people are always thinking about, but never really talking about. I have very conflicting views on the word nigga, because I'm African. I'm not really, I guess you would say, black. There's actually a difference. So I didn't grow up hearing the word as I would have if I grew up here in America or if I was black. It's not. I'm sure that you did use the word around a lot during colonialism in Africa, but it's not really a part of the. It's not really part of black culture in Africa, and here it's just such a big part of black culture, and it's one of the most powerful words, and it's just like it's a very versatile word, and I think it's actually kind of a fun word to use, and I think all types of people have fun using the word nigga. Like sometimes I feel like white people use the word more than black people, but we're just never really around them when they're using the word all the time. Just being here in Vermont, you'll be at a party and it'll just be these frat bros or these preppy white dudes, but they're using the word nigga like every other word when you're not around. I've been in a lot of situations where I've walked into a room and someone's used the word nigga and it's got like really uncomfortable, but the fact that they were so comfortable using the word when you weren't around, you just know that they use it all the time. I think everyone sort of has fun using the word, but it's also a very powerful word, and it's also a very harmful word. Yeah. I feel like it's hard to tell someone that they shouldn't say anything, and I don't think you have a right to. I just always tell people that say what you want, but understand the consequences of your action that might happen. people are always asking me personally what's my view on the N-word, but my view is just only my view. Unfortunately, being in a town where it's not very diverse, people will somehow confuse your view with representing for all black people. I feel like there's some sort of responsibility to have them understand that, like, this is pretty sad that, like, a one word that people have been dominated and oppressed to the point that that a sense of power that they have is a word that they can say over you that you can't. So I think, I don't know, it's very interesting because it's not really even part of my culture at all. Like, had I grown up, had I moved to the States when I was like 20 years old, I wouldn't even understand the word or what's the big deal about it, or why, like, people fight about it all the time, or why, like, black people would even fight to keep that word around. It's weird. It's just, like, weird because you see like little 5-year-old kids just calling like each other nigga, and then like white people just saying like this word is like bad, and like who's the word police? Like, who knows? It's just language is powerful that way. I have awkward moments out of people fearing to offend me all the time. Just the other week, I was at a party and this girl comes up to me and she grabs me and she tells me that she's friends with a lot of the black kids who are juniors, and I'm a senior, so I really don't understand what that really had to do with anything, because this was like right off the bat of her meeting me, and then she realized how ridiculous she sounded, so she wanted to apologize and say like, I didn't mean to be racist, but whenever someone starts a sentence with I don't want to be racist, or I don't want it not to sound racist, they're usually saying something racist, and it is always awkward because you're always a little offended because they're telling you this little racist thing or statement just for you to reassure them that they're not racist or ignorant, when in fact what they're telling you is sort of ignorant. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't understand the difference between being African and being black, or being a black American. We're not really Africans really aren't a part of American culture. We're two different cultures, and there really is a difference. And like, just right off the bat, like when I moved to the United States, some of the black kids used to make fun of me for being African, and I always thought it was strange that we were both black, but there's still enough of a cultural difference where like it was okay for them to make fun of me. But yeah, being African and being black are two different things. You get more, in my experience, I get more ignorance about Africa than being black, I would say, because a lot of people in America just already have like a very ignorant view of Africa. Like, when I meet people all the time, one of the first questions that they ever ask me is, so like, did you live in a house? As if Africa didn't have some of the biggest cities in the world. And people would always ask me questions like, did you have running water and things like that. Some people really do believe that we all live in huts and we all have to hunt for our food. And sometimes I just play around with it. Like, I'll joke around and I've actually told a girl and I convinced her that I used to hunt lions. But I come from the capital city, and I grew up in a house, never lived in a hut. It's not really as primitive as everybody thinks it is, and it's very different. Being black and being African are very different things. We have different values. We're a different culture, but I guess we're still the same people.